The fires of Troy have finally burned down to ash. Among the returning Greek kings is Odysseus, commanding a massive fleet of 12 mighty warships. He is a man famous for a trait the Greeks call metis, a sharp, tactical cunning. When he and his men get trapped in the cave of the Cyclops Polyphemus, Odysseus uses that intellect. He gets the giant drunk, blinds his single eye, and engineers a brilliant escape by clinging to the bellies of the creature's sheep. But as his ships row to safety, his pride gets the better of him. He taunts the blinded giant and screams out his real name over the water. That single shout gives Polyphemus exactly what he needs to pray to his father, Poseidon, for vengeance. Instantly, the very ocean they are sailing on becomes a hostile, supernatural enemy. A routine voyage home has suddenly escalated into a divine war. Odysseus's brilliant intellect saved him in the cave, but raw wit is entirely useless when a moment of ego invites the wrath of a god. From that moment, his external power starts stripping away. The King of the Winds gives Odysseus a tied bag containing all the hostile storm winds to guarantee a safe trip. But just as the shores of Ithaca come into view, his exhausted crew suspects he's hoarding gold. They rip open the bag, and the resulting hurricane blows the entire fleet backward across the world. The delays pile up. They stumble onto the island of Circe, a witch goddess who turns his men into swine. They survive the encounter, but breaking her spell and recovering costs them a full year of travel. This chart maps out exactly how lethal the ensuing gauntlet becomes. We start with his original 12 ships and hundreds of men. That number steps down abruptly as he travels to the underworld for a dark prophecy, then forces his crew past the deadly songs of the sirens, and directly sacrifices a handful of men to navigate past the six-headed Scylla and the whirlpool Charybdis. Then comes the fatal error. Trapped on an island and starving, the crew slaughters the sacred cattle of the sun god. In retaliation, Zeus shatters their very last ship with a lightning bolt. Every single crew member drowns. Odysseus alone survives, eventually washing up on the shores of Calypso's island. He is trapped there as a prisoner of love, isolated from the rest of the world for 7 long years. The legendary conqueror of Troy has been completely deconstructed. He has lost his army, lost his wealth, and his freedom. He has hit absolute zero. While Odysseus is stranded, a domestic crisis boils over in Ithaca. Over 100 arrogant suitors have occupied his palace. They are devouring his estate, pressuring his wife Penelope to remarry, and actively plotting to assassinate his teenage son, Telemachus. When Odysseus finally manages to reach his home shores, he can't just march into his own house. To survive the occupying force, the goddess Athena disguises him as an old, filthy beggar. He infiltrates his own kingdom at the absolute bottom of the social hierarchy. He sits in the dirt, absorbing insults from men who should be his subjects, quietly testing the loyalty of his servants and his son. Upstairs, Penelope has reached her breaking point. She announces a final contest to decide her new husband. The winner must string Odysseus's massive, impossibly stiff hunting bow and shoot a single arrow through the small loops of 12 axe handles. Stripped of his royal armor and his soldiers, the beggar king has to rely on pure intellect and agonizing patience to reclaim his world from the shadows. The contest begins, and the pampered suitors fail miserably. Their hands can barely even bend the heavy wood of the bow. Then the beggar asks for a turn. He picks up the weapon and strings it effortlessly, like a bard tuning a lyre. In one fluid motion, he fires the arrow on a perfect, dead-straight trajectory through all 12 iron rings. The rags fall away. The noise drains from the great hall as the suitors finally realize exactly who is standing in front of them. Flanked by Telemachus and 2 loyal servants, Odysseus unleashes decades of pent-up wrath. Together, they cleanse the hall in a relentless storm of arrows and steel. The physical throne is secured. Through pure, deliberate force, Odysseus has shed the skin of a helpless beggar and restored himself as a dominant conqueror. But the blood on the floor isn't enough for Penelope. She needs to know this man isn't an imposter or another trick of the gods. She sets a deliberate trap, casually asking a servant to move their heavy marriage bed out of the room. This architectural cross-section illustrates exactly why Odysseus flares with immediate anger. He explains that her request is impossible. He built the entire palace around a living olive tree, carving the rooted trunk itself into the heavy post of their bed. It is an intimate, unmovable secret that absolutely no one else could know. Hearing it, Penelope finally lets her guard down and embraces him. 20 years of war, monsters, and wandering forced Odysseus to use deception and brute force just to survive. But reclaiming his true identity and finding lasting peace required the one thing that could never be uprooted: